Hey everybody, this is Blake here, and welcome to my review of Run All Night, the newest film by Liam Neeson. Now, if visually this video looks kind of odd to you, it's because I'm experimenting with some new lighting techniques. So far, I'm pleased with how it looks, but I do feel I need to go a little bit further, so it's not quite so shiny on my forehead. Right now, it looks like you could really see all my many imperfections. Um, I do not like how I look on HD. There are some advantages to using the old-fashioned shoddy camera work. Um, anyway, I actually managed to make this background kind of work. I cropped out the kitchen-y aspects and included some of my props, so this is just a test to see what a Critiquing the Critics video might look like. So back there you see Godzilla and Anguirus wielding box cutters, because why wouldn't they? And it appears Space Godzilla and Gigan are holding a Netflix movie. Oh, it's Puppet Master 3, Toulon's Revenge. Clearly not a plug of me reviewing the entire Puppet Master franchise this month on my website. So yeah, please go check that out once I start posting those written reviews, which should start by the time you see this video. But enough of that, let's go ahead and start talking about the movie. So going into Run All Night, I figured it would be pretty good, not great, and what I got was pretty good, not great. It's entertaining, but it's not especially memorable. One thing that kept frustrating me about this experience is while I was watching it, I kept noticing areas where it just could have been so much better. Not that what we got was bad, it just seemed to miss out on a lot of opportunities in regards to its story. So where should I even begin? Well, let's go ahead and talk about the acting. I feel that Liam Neeson needs to start doing something different in regards to his leading man roles. I feel like I've seen him play the same persona way too many times, and it's begun to grow a little stale for me. Um, I believe that there was a time when Taken 2 and Taken 3 would have seemed more entertaining than they actually were if I wasn't used to seeing Liam Neeson recycle the Brian Mills performance again and again. Now, granted, I do enjoy watching Liam Neeson play that role. He does it incredibly well. But I don't know. I just feel like it's time he moved beyond it. He could still play the action hero. I just want to see him play a different kind of action hero. However, I will say that the beginning of the movie does show a much different kind of Liam Neeson. He's not, the badass that we know him from other films and from the later portion of this movie. He's much more pathetic, and he actually executed that very well, in that I bought Liam Neeson as like this joke within the film's universe. This guy who may have at one point been dangerous, but he's a has-been. People can just walk all over him, and he's going to be awkward, but he's going to let it happen. And I thought Liam Neeson did a great job at being kind of just a scumbag. And yet the film doesn't really follow through with this. Once the action starts happening, he becomes traditional Liam Neeson, where all of the effort of his performance is going into the stunts. So wasted opportunity. I think he should have kept up that persona throughout the rest of the film. It just, when it came to an action scene, then he could suddenly pull out, his cold side, his deadly side, while he should have been more awkward in his interactions with people. I also kind of wish that maybe he was much more villainous. I'm going to come back to this later, because it seemed like at one point that the film was going to go this route, where he's not really a hero. He's a bad guy who just happens to be on the right side for once. But instead, once again, the film's so much more interested in the action sequences that it never really allows this idea to breathe. It's just, once again, Liam Neeson just being Liam Neeson. He's awesome, but once again, we've seen this kind of character done before, many times before. But still, he does really good. Ed Harris, once again, I feel like I've seen him play the same character many times in other films, but he does it so well, so I still enjoy watching him. I really got to give credit to the guy who played Liam Neeson's son. I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but he's primarily known for playing RoboCop in the remake that just came out, I believe, last year. I liked that he seemed genuinely repulsed by his father in this movie, and there was obviously a lot of pent up rage there, and yet he could turn that off and be kind of charming and adorable when interacting with his family. And I could see him going places. He can turn out to be a pretty good action star if he chooses the right projects. So yeah, his acting was really good. I had some issues with the character, and I'll talk about that in time. Um, and in general, the cast did fine. The guy who directed this, he had previously done Non-Stop, and you could definitely notice the touches of style that were much more prevalent in Non-Stop. So even though this film overall isn't as stylish, it has its moments, and there are also moments that kind of reminded me of A Walk Among the Tombstones in that they're very atmospheric. But generally, the direction just didn't stand out enough. It's competent. I took no issue with it on a technical level, and the shootouts are exciting. There's actually this one great moment where they're in a building, and it's pretty much this three-way battle between Liam Neeson, the cops, and this real deadly assassin. And it's very suspenseful. It's very intense. I was totally on the edge of my seat. I wish the entire movie was like that. But yeah, instead, the rest of the movie was just, flat out entertaining. There's something always satisfying about watching Liam Neeson destroy the villains. And, the hand-to-hand fights, the few that we get, are really well choreographed. They're gritty, they're violent. It's a very well-paced movie. It never goes too fast to the point where it burns itself out, but it's never really slow either. I never became bored or impatient. And once again, though, as I was watching this, I just kept noticing all these missed opportunities that could have added so much more. And it felt like maybe at one point there was a much greater film, but they chopped it down in order to make it more marketable towards Liam Neeson's demographic, at least Liam Neeson as a leading action hero. For example, this was the biggest point, and what that really annoyed me in this movie is there's this one scene where Liam Neeson and his son, they go to Liam Neeson's character's brother's place, who's played by Nick Nolte. And Nick Nolte's character suggests a possibility that I thought should have been much more compelling than it really was, in that maybe Liam Neeson's character is going to sell out his son. That maybe, yeah, he is much more villainous than he seems. I really like that, and I think if they played up that ambiguity, it would have just added a whole new layer of tension. However, we know that's not the case in this movie because we've seen too many introspective scenes where Liam Neeson is obviously trying to atone for his past sins. We know that he's not going to betray his son just based on how he acts in private. He's clearly, intent on protecting him, whatever it takes. But still, I just think it would have been so much cooler if we feared what this character was capable of, along with fearing for him. So that was just a total missed opportunity. And like I said, I wish Liam Neeson was given more room to act during the second half of the movie, where maybe he can be much more cold-blooded and vicious and just a thorough criminal. And if they had done that, I think this film would have been much better. It would have been much more impactful. As it was, I enjoyed myself. I don't regret watching it in the theaters, but I'm not going to remember it. It's better than his lesser films, such as Taken 2, Taken 3, and Unknown, but it's not on par with his better works, primarily A Walk Among the Tombstones, Non-Stop, and The Grey, all films that are just going to stay with me much longer. In terms of comparing it to Taken, that's hard to say because I think Taken is a little overrated, yet at the same time, it was the perfect movie to come out at the perfect time, which is why I think people love it so much. I'd say Taken was a little bit better, even though I think they're in the same league. Taken, once again, because we hadn't really seen Liam Neeson play that kind of role before, that's what made it memorable. But so if this had come out in place of that, I think people would have been much more receptive to it. But as it is, it's an enjoyable watch, but once again, I'm not going to remember it. Would I recommend that you see this in theaters? It comes down to you, based on your pre-existing thoughts. If you really want to see it and you're willing to go to the theaters to watch it, it's good enough to be worth doing so. But if you'd rather wait till it comes out on DVD, that nothing about the marketing campaign has really impressed you, and you're maybe not the biggest Liam Neeson mark out there, then yeah, wait till it comes out on Netflix or as a DVD or as Redbox or whatever. And if you don't want to see it at all, then don't watch it. It's the type of film it's not good or bad enough to change your minds regardless. So that is all I have to say. I did not do a written review of this, but I have done written reviews of 3 Outlaw Samurai, Maniac. I don't remember, but I am going to post my written review of the first Puppet Master movie tonight, so please read that. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I shall see you guys later.